I feel good it's been addressed. I think there's been some ownership and some accountability. Yeah, we've got a good group of guys that do care, and that they're young people, and so occasionally that they're going to do relax a little bit, but part of that it's our responsibility too as coaches. Got to help them a little better and get them so they don't have the those kind of letdowns. That's a hard part, about navigating, your season. Every season's the same, That's the challenge, is to keep them on edge and hungry and focused and all those things. That's why people, as you go through the season, people start eliminating themselves, and sustaining success and playing at a high level is very difficult, over the course of a 13, 14, 15 game season. And it's that way for everybody, though. So that's the challenge, again, moving forward. And fortunately for us, we played good enough to win. And but I do believe that our guys, had some regret, and they're not looking at us like we got, 3 heads, like we're crazy. They played great or whatever. They're not living in la-la land. So we're capable of playing better and coaching better, and we need to, moving forward, and hopefully we will.
Has it been a consistent thing that's been happening
No.
that caused the issue?
Yeah, I mean, I actually, they're very correctable things, super correctable. And I probably would feel real miserable if, guys are just getting blown off the ball, or, we didn't have the skill to match up with people, in the back end, or, my linebackers were soft, whatever. I would feel real miserable. So those aren't the issues. Some of the issues that we've had are, again, just I asked the guys, yesterday if maybe these last few weeks, when we haven't looked very good, maybe that's who we really are. Maybe that's who we are, and maybe the first part of the season, and whatever it was, the first 6, 7 games was smoke and mirrors, and they didn't like that. Which I like. I'm very, it was a very quiet room, and when I said that, there was a lot of guys that were starting to get a little PO'd, and they didn't, because I thought they were PO'd all season, had an edge to them, and kind of, were out to prove something, just like that. Like, again, I hate comparing one player to the next or one year to the other, but it was so good for so long last year. I have to try to use, as a player, I always tried to, okay, who's doing it right, who coach keep praising, and I'm going to try to emulate that. What is that? I need to have me some of that. So, last year's group, all the way till Coach Sweeney made us pull them off the field, whenever it was in the 3rd or 4th quarter against Oklahoma, they weren't finished, man, and that was super cool. And love to bottle that up, but there are enough guys that witness that I think that they can relate to that. They understand what I'm talking about. It's not just throwing words out there or trying to throw anyone under the bus. It's like, that's what made that group so special, and the special ones. Maybe Alabama has that special unit this year. They got, again, you get leadership and chemistry and good players and an edge and a hunger and a focus, and that never satisfied attitude, guys that just absolutely love the grind, and then you get something that's pretty special, and we're capable of that, and but we could help ourselves, play a few more guys, readily admit that, and you got to take the bad with the good when that happens, but that's going to help in the long haul. And they had a nice little new scheme. I know what I said afterwards. I just don't want to give guys an excuse, for failure, for missing a tackle, or, putting my eyes in the backfield. I'm a half-field safety and let the guy run by me, or 3rd and 2, and they throw a slant route for, should be a 2 or 3 yard gain. It goes for 66. Those are things that are unacceptable. And all of a sudden, I start making excuses and trying to justify failure. They're going to buy into that. And they had a new little wrinkle that they out-leveraged a few times, and we played it well some, and not so well a few other times. And then a couple of the other plays they busted on us had nothing to do with that. It wasn't the option. He ran his own play, and first touchdown, and our backer we just fell back too far. That's my responsibility to get him not to fall back too far, and just ran it untouched in the A gap, and we haven't been making that mistake, that particular player. And another time we're in man free, and they run it in the B gap, and here's what happens when you let people have a little bit of success running the ball, and you're just not used to that. Guys can start to panic and try to do too much. Well, I thought it was the option. Well, you know what? You're not the quarterback player, the pitch player, the alley player. You're the B gap player. Stay in the B gap. Well, I thought he pulled it. Well, you're not supposed to think he pulled it. Stay in the B gap. And 51 yards later, there it goes. And that's correctable, and guys just trying to do too much, as opposed to getting annihilated off the line of scrimmage and, or run over in your gap or something like that. So none of it's any good, but you can get it corrected. So that's kind of long-winded answer to whatever the question was.
The chairman was afraid you're going to knock over the back.
Yeah.
And you start to panic, like you said. How hard is it to get done?
Oh, panic. I don't know panic. I don't like that word. So that's your word, not mine. But I think, well, maybe I did, and I didn't mean it, okay? No, I might have, but they start pressing. They're pressing.
How hard is it to get them to stop pressing?
It's not easy. That's the art of coaching 101. If you're used to having that happen to you, then they're probably not going to press. So the pressing part is a good thing, but it's like, okay, calm down. We got this, and and we pressed a little bit against Florida State, and like, hey, calm down, we got it. I mean, it happens. Sometimes it's a little thing, that maybe we didn't get exposed on. But sometimes it's harder than others. It depends on the player, and his mental makeup. Can he put it behind him or not? And some guys are better at it than others. I think, us as coaches and leaders, they kind of look to you. I remember one time I was a GA and I had coaches on the defensive headset, and we're playing in a bowl game, and it was the first time I ever heard them argue with each other. It was like your parents arguing as a young kid, and you're like, wait a minute, what's going on here? I didn't like it at all. I didn't like that panic and the turmoil, and players are the same way. They want to know, okay, do we got this, coach, or not? And so that's our job too. To you can motivate them and get after them and rip their butt, but still appeal to their voice of reason. And I think that's the art of coaching. And sometimes you're better at it than others. But every player's a little bit different. But hopefully you got good leadership and a trust and a chemistry, and that kind of overcomes and overtakes all that too.
What specifically are you looking for this Saturday then?
I want to play well. Just play well. I said it before. My ultimate goal, the rank, all that doesn't matter. I just want to play well. I want to play clean. I want to play with effort and toughness and discipline. That's it. That's it. I want our guys to enjoy competing and have fun and be confident. And so we all play a huge part into that. And that's the goal. And that goal's every week. And I told you before, I want to know that we're doing our part, and so you don't ever want to feel, I don't want anybody covering for us or, having to overcome us, And at the end of the day, I think that we did enough, but that's not, we're capable and we need to play better than that. We played very, very well a good part of that game. And whatever, and then 5, 6, 7 plays, where it was pathetic. So it's a game of football.
Is any of it concern that as the stakes continue to get bigger, maybe you guys don't
I don't know.
respond to it as well as
I don't know. I would be honest. I just think, Coach Sweeney says, "Oh, don't go wary." You know, doing what's right, doing the little things, being detailed, and that was the talk first day of fall camp. All right, you guys want to be great. Here's what it takes, and can you sustain it? And can you stay focused? And is this leadership going to hold each other accountable? Are you going to continue to invest every single week the same way? Are you going to allow distractions to get in? And so whether it's you're playing for a chance, if they're about the right things, you know, it really doesn't. Okay, you're not playing for a championship, so now your season's not worth a crap, and so it's easier to play. I don't believe that. We're at Clemson, we're not at a place that hopes to get to a bowl every year. So, you know, expect, you know, to win every week and those kinds of things, but you're not going to be in this position every year. But I still think the challenge, regardless of whether you're playing for a championship or you're in this position or not, the challenge is getting your guys to just buy in every week, put together a good game plan, play with that edge, play with that hunger, play with that focus, all those things. Because winning is really hard, and it's really hard to be consistent. There's not very many consistent programs out there in college football. There just isn't. Some programs have had their spurts, and some have had more than others, and some have never experienced success, to any, particular, strong level. So, I don't think that has anything to do with it. I felt, whether it's how many ever games in a row or we're not playing enough guys, and so they're a little bit tired. I don't know. I don't know all that, and I really, I felt like maybe we're trying to hurry up and get to the end, or hurry up and get to whatever, instead of just trying to get, instead of hurrying and getting to the next meeting and the practice and then the game. All those other things take care of themselves when you do A, B, and C, and so that's no different in any of us, or your own kids. They're the same way. So, but our job as coaches is to keep them focused. So.
Brent, I've heard you talk about the depth issues, and not necessarily from the fact that maybe guys are getting tired, but is it, hey, if I don't have three guys who could take your job, that maybe. I think you'd be negligent and naive to believe that doesn't sometimes play a part in it. Keeping a guy desperate to know his job, do his job. I think the competition brings out the best in everybody, for sure. And when you don't have it to the level you want, I think it can work against you, certainly. And if I just follow up with that, you talked about also maybe putting some guys, trying to develop depth, so that makes you sort of forces you to put guys in positions.
Yeah,
where
I just look at I got guys that can play, and sometimes I'm afraid of my own shadow that way, and I need to let them go out and fail too. They go out and that's going to help them. Not for the moment, it's a miserable moment for everybody when that happens, but that's all part of their growth and their maturation. So that needs to get better.
So in last month, where you guys held Georgia Tech with its lowest rushing total, you shut out Miami.
Yeah.
Show how fast.
I'm not all the way on that other extreme and you may not be, but I'm gonna take it that way. I'm not. We don't stink either. We have some stinky plays, for sure, but I'm competitive too, and I want to make sure I show our guys the good plays they played in that game too, and I don't want to sugarcoat things, but I'm not ready to jump off the top of the stadium either. So mad, yep. Embarrassed at times, yep. And but I still, without question, believe in our guys and believe in what we're doing as a staff.
I know you don't like comparing year to year, but just for frame of reference, this time of year, is it different when you're chasing a championship rather than last year where you're ranked but not in that playoff mix?
I don't think so. I pour everything I got, just as a leader and as a competitor, everything I got into every single game. Every practice is game day. I don't relate to that. That does not resonate with me whatsoever. I don't get it. You only get so many opportunities, and I believe in the process. I believe in it with everything, every fiber in my body, and how you get there. So this next meeting, oh my God, if I don't get this right in this meeting, we're going to lose, and that's just my attitude. And I'm hopeful that our guys, you know, latch on to that. And but I don't believe that. I don't know. I don't think you can say, oh, we're focused, you know, on what we can control, and that's where our focus is always, and that's kind of what you preach as a program, you know, and then all of a sudden say, well, this year's more important. I need a little bit more focus this year than we had last year because of what's at stake. You know, winning is at stake every day, and despite your record, you know. I don't know. I like being in this position though. This beats the alternative for sure, but it doesn't change. All of a sudden, you got to come up with you change your schedule, or you change the way you game plan, or you change the way you try to motivate. It all stays the same. It needs to be consistent.
The importance of every meeting, every practice, that kind of thing. As you were at Oklahoma and watched those teams playing for stakes, is it something that you kind of have to learn and grow in as a program along the way for these guys who haven't really had that yet?
I don't know. I don't know. If we were terrible, maybe. We haven't been terrible. These guys have never been terrible. I think they're going for their record-breaking win or something this week or something, right? So they know how to win. Again, how you handle success, I think, is everything. Just as human beings, and what's the natural tendency? You know, you're feeling good, you've been knocking everybody out, everybody's telling you you're the champ, rubbing up on the shoulders. You know, all you gotta do is just show up, you're gonna knock everything, you're the best that's ever been, and you put your guard down. And that's what's hard, to guard. Handling adversity is easy. Everybody comes in and they're humbled, and it's just like, oh my God, I'm gonna get annihilated today. But handling success, and then all of a sudden, oh man, you're a first-round draft pick projection, which just makes you want to puke, you know. But so you're constantly fighting, you know, the handling success. In my own son, you know, we're going to kill these guys this week. Man, they're terrible. So-and-so beat them by 20 points last night. And I just snap. I just hate that. So that comes from somewhere. You know, whether it's the kids in the locker room, I'm like, that is not any way to you guys are going to get blistered this week. You know, if that's the way, you know, you're a leader and that's the way you're thinking, you have no respect for this game and the people you're playing and the coaches that you're competing against. But that's, you know, everybody wants to anoint everybody, you know, and, you know, oh, they're in the, I know, so it's on the ticker and it's 88% chance of winning. I've been there and then lose by 7 touchdowns. I've been there, you know, and you fight that. And again, same thing, you know, you got your head in the sand. If you think that sometimes doesn't affect you, so you just got to be relentless. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes they'll listen, sometimes they won't. And I really believe it's the people that matter, you know, that you're dealing with. And hopefully you've recruited, and some guys have more maturity than others. And then sometimes they need a dose of some humility. And I told her I didn't think we had the humility, you know, that we need. I thought whether it's a 3 or 4 days or it's a week or these last few weeks, you know, we've lost a little bit of the humility that you got to have, and where again you're frantic, you're desperate, you're terrified that if I don't do it all right today, if I don't get my film in, if I'm not desperate at practice, if I'm not being coachable, that we're going to lose this game. And if everybody had that mindset, we'll be just fine. So I think the psyche is a huge part, whether you're in this position or you're not. You know, if your program stinks and you don't know how to win, and that's hard, teaching your guys learning how to win. That's really hard. And handling success is the other. That's also a problem. Oh, that'd be a great problem to have. It's hard. It's harder than you think. It's that's super hard. And then you know, okay, so we've done whatever, it's 5 years of, is it 10 plus or 11 plus or whatever? So we'll just see if we can go for 10. You know, that's really hard, because a lot of times too, it's leadership. It's, you know, it's everybody. You know, very start not recruiting as hard, and you know, starting to feel, you know, entitled, and then you recruit guys with promises, and you know, Johnny 5-star, and, you know, well, we don't have to recruit that 3-star guy because all these other 5-star guys want to come, and then you start losing sight of recruiting people instead of, you know, talent, and or again, people with talent as opposed to just talent, and make concessions. So anyway, that's not really for me to talk about a whole bunch. Coach Sweeney probably talks about that a lot, but that's really hard. And same thing with our kids from week to week, and all of a sudden they feel like they've arrived. You're setting yourself up for some humble pie. So whether those few plays, because we 40 some play we really, really good, like outstanding clinic tape, and then there's others not so good, and sometimes it's just that freaking Will linebacker isn't the B gap, you know, and 51 yards later, it ain't those other guys weren't humble or weren't folks. So you got it somewhere in the middle is probably the truth. And but I looked, I mean, before we went out in that field, I knew it, and I told the guys, you know, it's too much, you know, we didn't have the edge and the focus and the intensity. You can't cheat this game and go out there with the intensity. You know, this is a very passionate, intense game. And when you don't have that, that's all the edge an opponent needs to have success against you. So anyway, I keep saying the same stuff.
Specifically, do you feel like you have players who the last couple weeks have felt like they've arrived?
I think probably so. Or again, maybe let some distraction get in, or just put their guard down, or don't do quite as much work or be quite as detailed. And it doesn't take very much, you know. We do that walkthrough before practice, and all of a sudden they sleepwalk through a couple of those walkthroughs, and they're there in, you know, physically but not mentally, and that's all it takes sometimes. So flat, right? Whatever. Okay.